Good afternoon and welcome to day 3 of the INDISEC 2009 conference here in Delhi. And with me is Roger Spillman of ClearPath Technologies. Roger, we'd like to know, given the fact that India faces threats of how to screen a whole lot of baggage, a whole lot of containers coming into the seaports, a whole lot of containers coming in via airways, via railways, etc. What kind of solutions does your technology offer in this case?
Well, current our technology, which is called fast neutron activation analysis, is also known as atometry, provides really the first tool available that is confirmatory in nature. The issue when you're dealing with ports, especially high volume ports, that you have to contend with is the free movement of goods. Now, if you are trying to discern what's within a container without some sort of penetrating technique that is confirmatory in nature, you're going to disturb the flow of goods. And with a growing economy like India, that could cause serious inefficiencies that could also limit its competitive position in the world. Now, what is more important as well in the scenario you addressed is that the detection method is foolproof, that it will not trigger on some innocuous substance that has a similar characteristic. Now, X-ray, for example, it looks for an anomaly, and it's based on density or shape. It does not give the operator enough intelligent information to make an authoritative decision. What our technology does by using fast neutron activation analysis is that it actually performs what's called over-the-air digital chemistry. It does not also require, like vapor or trace or any of the other technologies, the need to actually touch the package or uncontain the goods that are in transit. So this technology, by using fast neutrons, which are 500,000 times more energetic than the other used techniques, can penetrate through the container toward the identified anomaly and tell you exactly its composition. But not only that, it has what's called mass selectivity. Unlike all the other technologies, it can also tell you how much is there. Now, besides explosives, it does radionuclides, as well as can detect other issues, threat materials, such as chemical warfare agents, if you're concerned about nerve gas, as well as can tell you whether or not there's a certain quantity of metal, which would indicate shielding. So obviously, a countermeasure to smuggling radionuclides is shielding. Can also detect whether or not there's shrapnel there.
So lead shields can be easily detected, lead shields and...
Lead shields would be detected as well as penetrated. The more important thing is that you want to know that that threat that's been identified, it could be other techniques such as X-ray, but that it is an actual threat that really should demand that you shut down operations, clear an area. And this applies as well in transit, in the public venues such as sports stadiums. You're having the Commonwealth Games soon. There's a perfect example where you need to authoritatively decide whether or not you should shut down an event because someone left their briefcase. So this type of technology, which we're very pleased to be introducing into India, now that has been approved by the local regulatory bodies to sell, will resolve a huge problem that a country such as yours with large growth and such a great horizon in the future, but dealing with terrorism, which really is causing some difficulties for you to operate freely.
Roger, because this is using technologies which are non-intrusive and it is actually gauging the chemical composition of what is inside a particular package, which could be fairly well shielded, is there a radiation hazard in using this technology?
Well, actually, it is regulated because it uses a radiation source. However, it's not an active source. We use a time and tested, proven technology that's been used in industry safely for many years, both in the medical industry as well as in mining and logging and oiling. And what it requires is just a perimeter, which actually falls in line with the current operational protocols of a first response team. The requirements and the exposure are somewhat not congruous. I mean, the regulatory issues are hypersensitive to exposure of the general public, but a properly trained worker can stand very close to the system through many hours of exposure and still receive less radiation than a typical dental X-ray.
So maybe this could be a very useful technology that can be used in air cargo and in freight movements of railways, etc.
Oh, absolutely. Because of its penetrating nature and its accurate nature, it could be integrated in line with baggage screening, where you would actually route packages that were flagged as suspicious to a separate conveyor for further screening. The timing of screening right now, it can be tens of seconds to several minutes, which in a high volume environment could be utilized in the fashion I stated, 2 stages of screening. But obviously this type of technology really should work well as the last stage of screening. And in air cargo, for example, again, the issue of movement of goods, and obviously in the airline industry, that will affect your margins and your ability and your stability as an airline and your competitive position in the airline in the airline aviation sector. But to scan a cargo container quickly and accurately, there really is no comparison at this stage.
The one vital question then that remains, Roger, is if you have such an excellent technology, Indian vendors would like to know, Indian clients would like to know about the cost and how it can be, cost minimized by perhaps indigenizing or perhaps some other way. How is it possible to make this cost effective so that Indian airports, Indian airlines, etc., can use this?
Well, at the current stage, the cost is really not. I do not see it as an impediment. In fact, if you look at the amount of losses that can occur, especially in an airport environment where each minute can cost tens of thousands of dollars, the ability to quickly resolve a threat and determine whether or not it is actually necessary to close a terminal, reroute airplanes, and stop commerce, it is not very expensive. Now, in order to make it perhaps in more cost effective, I believe volume, of course, is one way. We would welcome that, but as well as using local resources, both in the manufacturing perhaps of the system, but definitely in the maintenance and service that's required.